Can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. It's me, Niall, and I'm delighted as always to be joined by Danny. And we're here in final prediction mode for an intriguing clash. Callum Walsh is back this weekend, part of the huge Canelo Crawford card, of course. And yeah, facing Fernando Vargas in a really intriguing fight. It's a step up for Callum Walsh. He's passed all his tests now with flying colours, you have to say, Danny, and this is another step up for him, so it'll be interesting to see it. So yeah, let's jump straight into it. What is your final prediction for Callum Walsh and Fernando Vargas this Saturday?
Yeah, really looking forward to this one, as I am the whole card. Definitely a step up for Callum Walsh, but also a step up for Fernando Vargas, putting his undefeated record on the line too. Comes from a boxing family. The Vargas has got his father, his brother Emiliano Vargas. I'm going to favour Callum Walsh here. From the footage I have seen of Vargas, I think I'd give Walsh an edge in speed, in ability, in footwork. I think Vargas looks like he packs a bit of a dig. Callum Walsh too has been stopping a fair few of his opponents. Both got high level knockout percentages, but I do see this one going the distance. I think Callum Walsh will win the decision here. I just think there's been too much investment in Callum Walsh from your Dana Whites, Freddie Roach, getting this slot in the card for them to get it wrong this early. So more than anything, I'm just sort of backing the business to have got this one right, and I'm going to go Callum Walsh on points.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of disagree with what you said there. And first of all, regarding that last point you made, there is a lot of backing behind Callum Walsh, and I do think that will stand him in good stead. But also, as you say, I do think he has the edge and speed. Vargas is a good fighter, although he's not fought anybody really of note so far in his career. But he is a solid fighter. Technically decent southpaw. But Callum Walsh, as you say, has the edge and speed. Vargas isn't the better technical boxer than Callum Walsh, as good as he is. So, yeah, I think Callum Walsh might kind of come through some hairy moments, maybe early on, but without wanting to sound too boring, I'll go for a Callum Walsh points win as well. Yeah, I just think the speed, the IQ, the technical kind of ability of Callum Walsh will get it done. Although, you know, I often get accused of being a bit biased, a bit too biased towards Irish fighters at times. Although Callum Walsh, I do think he's a talent. I think there's still something missing with him without kind of sounding too harsh. I think he might still be a little bit too rough, a little bit rough around the edges. But he's still young. He's the potential there is huge. It really is. And as you said, he has the backing. So yeah, this is a big card for him. Big time to show what he's all about. And I think he will have enough to get it done. So yeah, we're both going for a Callum Walsh points win in this one. Just kind of on that, I've given my thoughts there on Callum Walsh. Just before we wrap up, I think he's a bit rough around the edges. As I say, he's still young. What's your opinion on kind of where his ceiling could be? Do you think he's world champion? He's a world champion in waiting, or what's your opinion on Callum Walsh?
A world champion at some point, potentially, because he will be very well maneuvered. Given the strength of the 154 division, you can't say he's a world champion in waiting. I certainly wouldn't pick him to beat any of the world champions at the weight division at the minute, and even the guys just below that. I think, there's treacherous waters there. He's a young lad, as you say, a bit rough around the edges still sort of learning his craft in the pros. They'll not be in any great rush. I think 154 is not going to be a shark tank forever. All divisions go through peaks and troughs. Saying that, some of the fighters at the top end of that division are young, some not so young. So I think in 3-4 years' time, that's when you can maybe see Callum Walsh competing for a world title. In a roundabout way of answering your question, it's probably just too soon to tell. I'm certainly not going to write him off, particularly with the backing he's got and the age he is. But at the same time, I'm definitely not going to accuse of being biased and saying he's going to, win a world title, win multiple titles. It's just too early for me to say.
Yeah, it is. It is very early, and as you say, 154. It's Probably, if I had to say, it's probably my favorite division of boxing at the minute. It's
I
just
agree with you.
so stacked. It really is. So against this current crop, yeah, it's too soon. But as you say, when they kind of move on, there's no reason why you couldn't. A few more improve. A few more kind of stepping stones before that, and yeah, he definitely could be. Just quickly before we wrap up, I know I'm gonna kind of look a little bit into the future with this. If he does get past Vargas, what kind of step up would you like to see him in with next? I'm very curious to see how they're gonna match him now going forward. If he does get past Vargas, who would you say?
That's the good thing about 154. Even down to like the top 20, there's recognizable names and fights that make sense. I think maybe 6 months' time, a year's time, you look at a Sergio Garcia. He's been in with some good fighters, suffered an early stoppage loss to Juenas Tellez a while ago. Probably not the fighter he was. Garcia, that's a decent fight. You look at Brian Mendoza, again, some miles in the clock there, but mixed it with some of the best in the division. Those are the sort of names I'd be targeting for a year's time. And then you can maybe look if Tim Zoo's still going in at 18 months, another hard fight or two, he could be ripe for the taking. As savage as that is to say, that's a scalp that would look good on Callum Walsh's resume. Certainly a fighter who looks to be working his way down the back nine. So there's a lot of names there who maybe aren't what they were that they can target, that they can offer a decent payday to. So that's the sort of level I'd be looking at for, say, a year's time.
Yeah, definitely great options. Irish boys again with me. I think Kevin Ajarko is another name I'd love to see, especially
Yeah,
if
yeah.
Ajarko wins on Saturday night. I just think it would be a big fight for Irish boxing. So yeah, but there is plenty of good options there. For Callum Walsh, and he could beat them all. Who knows? The sky could be the limit for Walsh. But yeah, he has a very tough one to get past this Saturday night first in Las Vegas. That was myself and Danny giving our final predictions for Callum Walsh against Fernando Vargas, the Allegiant Stadium, of course, part of that stacked card headlined by Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford. So yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with our picks, or are you going with a Fernando Vargas win? Let us know. Get involved down below, and as always, don't forget to drop a like on the video first of all. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not doing so already, and follow us on all social media. Danny, it was a pleasure. Take care.
Thanks, mate.